up, Internet? You're tuned into episode 104 of the PotsCast. I'm your host, Peter Bessie, joined, as always, by my very good friend, the Sweatshirt Connoisseur, Mr. Stephen Radford.
Hello.
So for those of you who aren't watching over on YouTube, which, of course, you should, go over to the PotsCast YouTube channel and give us a subscribe. Steve is wearing the most orange sweatshirt I think I've ever seen in my life.
It is. This is merch from one of my clients.
Does it have a logo on it?
Yeah.
Oh.
It does, yeah. No, you can't see the logo. It's hidden away. But it's the brightest orange. They got these for when they went to a trade show and they really wanted to stand out. You definitely stand out. It's like high vis. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think it's funny because it was like a couple weeks ago you were like, oh, I got this brown sweatshirt, and like, you know, normally I wear blue sweatshirts and I'm switching it up with brown, and then now you just hard turn into this vibrant electric orange.
I never wear it, but we're recording on Sunday this week. It's just laundry day, so all of my blue ones are in the wash.
How many blue hoodies do you have?
5.
Damn. Why?
Like all of them apart from my brown one are blue.
That's so funny to me.
I don't know. I just like blue.
Mine are all black, so I guess I really shouldn't talk.
Yeah, see, you go an all full on emo over there. At least I'm like one shade over from emo.
See, that's the thing with mine. They're like most of them are bands. So it's like I have like a black one with green. I have a black one with red. You know, like
okay. I don't own any hoodies other than this one with a logo on. I don't like clothes with logos on. I specifically buy clothes without logos. I have one or two like exceptions. I have like a Fallout T-shirt and I have a T-shirt for my favorite band, The Midnight, and that's it. Other than that, none of my clothes have logos on.
I'm such a sucker for a good graphic tee. You know this.
I do. Well, I don't really like standing out. So I would never wear this in public, ever. See, there's no way.
For me, I don't usually like shirts where it's just a logo. Like when people are just like, oh, like I have like a Billabong shirt or something, or like it says Volcom on it or whatever. Like
I don't get that. Like, why are you giving free advertising to some company?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I that's never quite connected with me. Not that I have, like, a problem with it. Because, like, I have, like, Filthy Casual clothes. And, like, I like their shirts. But, like...
What's Filthy Casual?
Filthy Casual is, like, a gamer lifestyle brand. You've probably seen, like, YouTubers that you know or whatever wearing their clothes or whatever. And I initially came across them at Comic-Con years ago when they used to be called Cherry Sauce.
Oh,
and they just...
I want this. I've just logged onto the website. They've got this apron with the like most sexy suspenders.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is with them. I like the style of their clothes, and I like the way that they like use the logo to create a shirt that feels more like an art piece. So like when it's like that, I can jive with it. But most of the time, I just have like, oh, you know, it's like, it's this cool, it's a graphic of Sora from Kingdom Hearts, or, you know, oh, it's this cool Mario thing, you know? But, like, I will rep, like, I have that N64 shirt that's just the N64 logo.
Oh, yeah, but that's
classic
like
as fuck, though.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'd wear any of these Filthy Casual ones. They're too much. But do you know the brand Teddy Fresh?
No.
So I like their stuff. They have like block color hoodies. I want to get one of those, but the shipping and the tax from America added like $40 onto the price, and I was like, "There's no way." So I'm really waiting for them to get. I'm waiting for them to get like a European stockist.
Yeah.
Until I order one.
Hey, come visit me here, man. You know, as soon
that's what I need to do. Well, you know, at the moment that's not happening. We're not able to go into any other.
Yeah, neither of our countries are in good shape for that shit.
One day.
Yeah, one day. 2022.
Maybe when you get married, I might be able to.
I was going to say, in 2022, you can come to my wedding and I'll have this sweatshirt waiting for you.
Hopefully by then I'll have lost some weight, so it probably won't even fit.
Well, we'll wait. We'll wait. We'll order it closer to the arrival date. Anyway, this is not After Dark. This is the PotsCast, where every week Steve and I get together to talk about Nintendo and the world of video games, what we're playing, all that kind of stuff. We answer your questions. It's a great time. If this is your first time joining us, I promise we don't normally talk about fashion that much. But if you do want to hear us talk about fashion, of course, keep it tuned for After Dark, because it's all fair game over there. So if this is your first time joining us, of course, you can get us all around the web, LootPots, wherever you get your video game content. We're there making some content for you. We've got our, the LootPots Prime YouTube channel where we've got all kinds of great video essays, deep dives into trailers, and all kinds of cool speculative stuff. We've also got the PotsCast channel where you can come check out the video version of this show. You can head over to our Twitch channel where every Thursday night Steve and I have been streaming. Last Thursday, we streamed a little bit of Master Chief Collection with a couple members of the community. Shout outs to both Zaid and Doc, a couple of our Patreon supporters. Thank you guys for joining us. It was a blast.
And thank you for
carrying us.
Carrying us, because I was terrible. I was genuinely bad. They put us into the first one. What was it? Legendary or heroic?
Yeah,
or something?
I think it was legendary the first time.
And we were on teams, so it was me and you against them plus
the computers,
these, waves of enemies. I mean, instead of chance, I went in. I had no idea what I was doing. And like a normal shooter, I was there aiming with the left. I was trying to aim with the left trigger, and it was just throwing grenades. It was like grenade. I was like, shit, what's the controls? I had no idea. And then you didn't tell me until like an hour in that there's a jetpack I could have been using. Nobody told me this.
No, I thought we'd all be on the same team, and then once we were on the same team, it worked out. We had a good time.
Oh yeah, once you've done your update for 30 minutes.
Yeah. It was a messy stream, but we had fun. We got there. We landed the plane. So if you want to come for the next one, which will be a lot smoother, it'll be sometime this week. Not on Thursday because it'll be Christmas Eve. But keep it tuned to our Twitter. That's @LootPots, or go join our Discord. Where we make announcements before we go live. And you can also go join the PotsCast channel over there where you can get your thoughts read on the air during our MailPot segment, like a bunch of other fine folks did this week. And, of course, if you also want to get in touch, you can, of course, write into me at pete@lootpots.com, or just go to our weekly Twitter thread where we ask for questions. There's a lot of ways to get in touch, a lot of content that you can get from us, and we hope you'll come check it out. Last but not least, of course, if you want to go above and beyond and show your support for the show, head over to Patreon, where for just $1, you'll get access to After Dark, our patron-exclusive show, where Steve and I keep the mics rolling, and we talk about whatever's going on in our lives. We talk about, stuff that didn't fit in the main show, all kinds of stuff. What did we talk about this week, Steve? We recorded After Dark first this week. What was it? It was about Christmas, right?
I think it was mainly Christmas plans and how your tree almost fell down, and you had to call Sarah in the morning.
That did happen.
Please help!
It's a tree on top of me. Yeah, so if you want to hear the story of how my Christmas tree almost fell over, I think it's worth $1. It helps us keep rolling, and it gets you a little bit of extra show in your feed every week, so we hope you'll go check it out. All right, so that's enough sweatshirt talk for now. Let's jump into what we're playing this week. Spoiler alert, we've both been playing Cyberpunk. There's a ton of Cyberpunk news. I think before that, do you want to briefly touch on Among Us now, or do you want to save it for later?
We can save Among Us for the indie world stuff.
All right, so then, let's just jump into it then. Cyberpunk.
Well, I've been playing something else, and I did want to bring it up.
Oh, what's that then?
So I bought Hades in the sale this week.
Ooh, you got Hades? Hell yeah!
Yeah.
How you finding it?
And oh my god, it's amazing. This game has swayed me from Cyberpunk. I'm done with that game really, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. But Hades is so good. I'm addicted, and I'm just going round and round in circles. I've made it all the way to Elysium.
Okay.
And beat that stupid bone hydra thing, but now I think I need to level my character up a little bit more by some more of those wells in the underground and stuff. So really, really, really good game. I think I've probably played 5 hours already, and I got it on Friday. So I'm going to keep playing it. I think this is going to be on my game of the year list when we record that show. I think it's made its way there already.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, Hades is a really special game, and a game I really enjoyed. I think my one gripe with it is that, and it's not even a gripe, it's more just my personal experience with it, is roguelikes in general are not my thing. And this game was so good that I kind of got past that. But when I hit a point where, I've gotten to the final boss of the game a few times, and I just can't seal the deal. And it was then when the new consoles came out and pulled my attention away, it's I want to go back to it, but now I feel I'm not good again, and I need to get my chops back. Yeah. So it's like, do I want to go through that and get good at it again just so I can beat it? And, and like, the answer is yes, but it's like, when will I find the time to do that? I'm not quite sure.
What's your weapon of choice? I'm really enjoying the shield and being able to like block stuff and do the ball rush towards people and like clicking X to like fling the shield at them and stuff. So I'm really been enjoying that one. I've just unlocked the gun. I think it's a gun anyway, but you have to reload it. The way you reload it feels a bit wonky to me, pushing in the right stick. I would have way preferred it to be like one of the bumpers, like the left bumper or something, because it just feels a bit iffy to have to like move my thumb down there to reload. So I don't think I'm going to get on with that one.
I like the gun with certain boons, like with certain power-ups it's good, but on its own it's iffy for me. I kind of oscillate between the shield and the bow. Those are usually my two favorite.
I've never played with the bow. Never, ever.
The bow, I genuinely think the bow's the best weapon if you get comfortable with it. I think it's the hardest to pick up, but once I like got in a rhythm with it and I got all the right boons, the crowd control options on it are like insane. And I always find the Bone Hydra to be like the toughest boss, and except for the last boss.
I'm fine with the Bone Hydra, but there's the room in that fiery area, I can't remember what it's called, that has like tons of those witches that are just firing those purple bullet things at you.
Those are hard. And the bow and arrow makes that so much easier.
Okay, but I found the shield made Meg, is it Megda or Meg the easiest? Like she charges at you, just hold the shield up, it bounces her back. So much easier that way. And I realized like only recently that you can pay to get your death like averted or whatever it's called.
Oh, that charge back?
Charged.
Yeah.
I had no idea you could do that. Like you sell your boons and you get the cash, and then you spend that cash to do it. And I also found the store in the cafe area in like the main house, so you can like exchange things. So I exchanged like the blood for a bunch of the gems, and I was able to just go and upgrade pretty much everything in one hit, which was great.
Yeah, once you start really like getting more comfortable with the resource management and like understanding that you should probably save your money, that is one of the biggest like learning curve thing. Like I remember I had a moment where I got to like the end and there's like a shop with a bunch of stuff that you can use, and I was like, oh, I really should have been saving my money all this time, huh? Like I was just spending it as every time I had an opportunity because it's finite, so it's like, oh, whatever advantage I can get, I should take it when I can get it. No.
Yeah.
You don't need to play that way. Like save your money, sit on it so that when you do have the opportunity to buy a second life or a boon that's really going to make a difference.
Yeah, I like, or even buying like extra life while you're down there, like being able to boost your life up. I've got my base life now up to 70, so if I can get a couple of hearts while I'm down there, I can get to Meg with like 110, 120, and she's easy. I can breeze past her without having to use my my death thing. I can't remember what it's called. What about the chaos?
Her sisters yet?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You would know.
Are they the boss in Elysium?
Nope.
Okay. No, I don't think I met her sisters yet. But I've done those. I've done one of those chaos things. I can't decide if I like them or not. Where it's like you get a negative effect for three of the next
rooms or whatever,
and then you get like a bonus after that. I can't decide if I like doing those. But you have to give up a piece of life in the first place to go down into the like well area, and then you come back up into one of the rooms. So I'm not sure about those.
I like doing them early game. I feel like later game they feel like too much of a gamble. Cause like as the rooms get tougher, like those debuffs can make a huge difference between like, is this a room I can easily get past, or am I like threatening myself with losing a life, So usually like if there's an option in the beginning to do it, I'll be like, yeah, why not? Like nothing's gonna happen the first 5 rooms. But
I mean, I can get to Meg usually without losing any life whatsoever at this point. It's they're easy, and it's so strange because at the beginning it felt so difficult. I was like, "There's no way I'm ever getting past her. She's so hard. Like, how am I going to do this?" But then you level your character up, so his attack's like stronger, and he has more life, or he can do like there's like one of those ones where you get these like artifacts as well, the keepsakes, don't you? And there's like some that do different things, and you can change them throughout if you want to. I pretty much always use the one where if I'm behind an enemy, the attack's stronger.
Yeah, that's a good one. I usually use the one that gives you more life.
I haven't got that one yet. Where'd you get that one from? Who do I need to give a gift to?
I don't remember.
I'm guessing it's someone like Aphrodite.
I think it is. It's someone like that, maybe. I don't remember. I think it actually is somebody in the house now that I think about it. And you know what it is? I think it's Cerberus.
Okay, I'm gonna go give him a gift when I get one.
Cause yeah, that plus like the regular buffs that you'll find. Like I remember, I think I'm able to get my health up to like 200 now or something like that.
Wow, okay.
It's like really high. Which makes it so much easier to get further, you know.
And then you'll get 100 health back when you lose a life, you'll go straight back up to 100. One of the boons I really like when you're down in the action is the one that when you use a whirl, it gives you 100% of your health back.
Oh,
it
yeah.
makes it so good. Or the one where they drop health nuggets if you like kill enemies, they have a chance to like drop health items. Really, really helpful, but I realized it doesn't work in the boss rooms.
Yeah, it doesn't. I like the one where if you smash pots, there's like a 10% chance of it dropping health and stuff. I haven't got that one. Yeah. I've got
there's an upgrade you can do where there's like an urn in the room and that has like 10 coins or something in, but I haven't unlocked that one. So
there's so much to do in that game.
It's such a good game. And then there's like all the cosmetic stuff you can do to the house if you care about that, like upgrading the carpet or doing all sorts of stuff in the hall or making your bedroom look nicer. Yeah. Such a good game. My only gripe with it is when I reach Meg, I just want her to shut the hell up, and I'm like smashing A just so I can kill her and move past her.
There's more dialogue every time, Steve. You gotta read it.
I don't care. It feels like I've killed her 1,000 times at this point, and the guy is like. Yeah, the guy's clearly like on the same page as me. He's like, "Oh, hi again, Meg. You ready to die again?" And it's just like it's getting to that point. But I when Max was on the show, he said he hasn't heard the same dialogue repeated. I'm at that same stage as well. I mean, I know I'm only like 5 to 10 hours into the game, but I haven't heard a single line of dialogue repeated. And you must beat these bosses over and over and over again.
Yeah,
which is impressive.
I've probably beaten Meg like close to 100 times at this point, you know, like if not that many. And I don't think I've encountered any repeat dialogue either, which is nuts. Anyway, I'm glad you finally picked it up, man. It's a great game. It is.
And it's on sale at the moment, but in Europe in the like festive favorites eShop sale or whatever it's called, and I think it's still in the Game Awards sale. I don't know if that's still ongoing by the time this show airs, but it's worth picking up even at full price. I don't know why I was on the fence about this game. I think it was something to do with the art style. I'm not massively sold on the way the characters' drawings look. To me, it's not an art style that speaks to me. But the game is so fun, and the attacking feels so good. Like it's just fantastic. Like you feel like a hero when you beat someone, definitely. Which I think is how you want to feel when you play a game like this.
And I think it's got like just a perfect gameplay loop. Like I think it's a great game to just sit down and play. But I also think that like if you beat the game, or you know if you are in that loop, like it's a great TV game too, which we always love to talk about. Like I remember when I was playing it. Once I had been into it for like a week or so, I would be like watching TV, and then just whenever there was dialogue, I would pause whatever I had on in the background so I could listen, and then like, all right, back to the action, let's go, you know? So yeah.
I don't care about the dialogue. I'll be honest, I really couldn't give a shit about the story. I just love the gameplay. I think it's fantastic. No, it even reads it out for you, like who cares? But it's just not a story that I'm really bothered about. It's just some dude trying to escape the underworld, as far as I'm concerned.
The voice acting is so good, though. I feel like it gives the world so much character.
It makes me laugh every time you call someone mate, though. Because it sounds a little bit forced to me. Like it sounds like what someone would think a British person would say.
What are you on about, mate?
It's like, hiya, mates. It's like, what the fuck? No one speaks like that.
What are you on about? He's got a perfect British accent, mate. All right, so let's jump into it. Talk about the elephant in the room. Cyberpunk 2077, of course, making headlines again this week. None of which for the right reasons. So I want to start before we get into all of the news around it, because like we could probably talk about it for an entire podcast, considering there's been a news story every single day. Steve,
Yeah,
you said
like
it. I mean, it not even feels like it has been, right? Like, Steve, you said that you feel like you're at a point where like Hades has pulled you away from it. You're kind of done with it. Do you want to expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I jumped in yesterday. I finished like one of the main story missions where I break it into Ahsoka, whatever it's called, HQ, to do something or other. And I tried again to do that stealthily, but it feels like it's impossible to do in this game anything stealthy or with hacking. So of course everyone came at me guns blazing, even though I don't know how he saw me, but I was sneaking into like the security office. Somehow he saw me. That frustrated me. And then at the end of that, it was like, oh, go and do some other stuff. Go and explore other leads, and I'll give you a call at some point. So it kind of forces you to go do side quest.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing this side quest where it's this like prisoner who's coming out and he's working for a studio who wants to make a brain dance video about him. And I was just bored, like so bored of this. And I was just like skipping through. I was like, this is just boring. I don't care about it. And I think that's where I'm at with the game. It feels repetitive. It feels boring to me. I'm not really enjoying the story. I don't really care about the characters. And maybe if I played V as a woman, I think maybe it might have been better, because I don't think the voice acting of V as the guy is that great. And I know.
Don't you remember on day one when you said the
opposite?
I
do. But then I've seen some footage of V as a woman. Voice acting significantly better, and I know it is one of the voice actors from Persona 5.
Oh, really?
I think it's Makoto.
Oh, damn, if I had known that, I would have picked Lady V too then.
So, and whereas the dude, I think, was a film actor. He'd never really done any voice-over stuff before, and I think that you can tell in how he's voicing stuff. It's quite monotone. In the same way that I don't think Keanu comes across particularly well either.
I feel like Keanu's problem is more his script than his performance, personally.
Quite possibly. Yeah, quite possibly.
And it's worth pointing out, I know I've had multiple people who are like personal friends or like, you know, dare I say colleagues in this space or whatever, who have talked to me about it and said that like the game really opens up after like the 20-hour point, and like that the story gets a lot sharper, and that like a lot of the dialogue is better, and that, you know, Imran Khan from Kinda Funny had said that it feels like the game's written by two different teams at points, where like the peaks and valleys between the stuff that's good and the stuff that's bad is like insane. So I don't know. I'm in a weird place with it, because I think if I put it down right now and never touched it again, I think I'd be okay with that. Like, I think I've kind of...
Me too. That's exactly where I'm at with it. I just don't care. And I think the thing I came to the conclusion of is that this game shouldn't have been an open world game. This game should have been like The Last of Us 2. Maybe an open world section where you can go about and you have to explore and do some stuff. But it should have been more linear. And I think a cohesive story would have been a lot better. Most of these side quests I don't care about. I don't care about going to race, because the racing and the driving in this is garbage. And I don't care about most of the side quests, because they're people who I'm so disconnected from and have no like tie to.
See,
like,
that,
why would I care?
That I don't totally agree with. I think I'm getting to the point where I've been more invested in that, because like I did a side quest that involved Judy recently, and like I like her character a lot, and like I'm interested in what's going on with her, and it's like I think I don't necessarily totally agree that I think it shouldn't have been an open world game, but I think that like it's in a weird place where it kind of reminds me of how I felt about some of the side content in like Mass Effect 3, for example, where like you haven't really played Mass Effect, but like the conceit of the third Mass Effect game is that the entire galaxy is at war, right? And that like all of the races, all of the planets in the galaxy need to come together and fight this threat that could end life as you know it in the Milky Way, like period, right? So like the stakes have never been higher, and the odds are so stacked against you, and this, that, and the other. And, like, there's a similar stake set in Cyberpunk, right? Like, no spoilers, but once you get to the title screen, they kind of establish what the stakes of the game are, and it's this very time-sensitive, you need to do this or V is going to die. And, like, that's the stakes of the game. And for there to be, like, side quests that are like, go participate in a fight club, go race cars, it's like, it feels off, because why would V
and I
do
get
those
that it's
things?
I guess it's kind of trying to fit in with V's backstory as like a merc for hire, does whatever it is to survive in Night City, maybe is participating in these illegal street races and these illegal fight clubs, but like he or she is in that quest to kind of save themselves, and maybe it should have funneled you 100% down that mainline quest until you reached a point, at which point it said, right, you can now go and do other stuff because you're safe or whatever. I don't know what the solution was there, but much of those side things feels like filler to me, and it feels unnecessary.
I think it depends on what you're talking about, because I think some missions do feel that way, because some missions boil down like, you get a phone call from a person you've never met before, there's a job you can go do, you do the job, you get money. And that's the
stuff I'm on about. It's like, why do I care? Like, give me money for completing the main stuff, and then I don't need to do these boring side quests. And maybe there are some side quests that are great, and I have enjoyed it.
The ones that are story driven, the ones that are connected to characters that you know are good, where it's like, you know, you meet like a great example is like a character like Padre, like you meet him in the beginning, you have a connection to him, he gives you missions, and it's like, okay, fine, like, I know this character. Doing things for him means something to me. But when it's just some random who calls me and tries to sell me a car and then is like, go do a thing and like maybe we'll be friends or whatever, it's like, I don't know, like that feels off.
I haven't bothered buying any of the cars. I don't care about any of them. Like, I've got my car and Jackie's bike, and I got another bike from a mission, and that's enough for me. I don't have the desire or the need to collect vehicles.
Yeah, so I just mean, like, I think when it comes to that stuff, it's like, to me, it feels more like execution issues than anything. But what I think
I think the whole open world thing feels like a failed execution. It doesn't feel like an open world game. It feels like they wanted to make a Grand Theft Auto style game, but they didn't do it. They made a game that is trying to be too linear in that format. It's not like I go places and I talk to other people and then I pick the mission up there. You know, in GTA, you go somewhere, you talk to someone, you get the next quest. You can choose to do that quest if you want to, or go and carry on with something else. This is, I'm driving in an area, I get a phone call, it's like, hey, V, there's something in the area that needs doing. And it's like, I never talk to anyone to pick that up. I never have that interaction with someone in the real world.
Yeah.
It's always just a virtual phone call of someone dishing out a job to me.
And like the thing is, I think you get into that later, right? Like as you get to know the characters and do more missions for them, like you'll make that connection or whatever, but like it doesn't necessarily feel organic at the onset, and it doesn't feel like there's a huge incentive to do those things sometimes, you know? And it's interesting because like I really do think it's like a tale of two games in a lot of those senses. But what I was trying to say before was like I'm in a weird place with it where like I enjoy my time with it when I sit down and play it. Like I do have fun, and like I am interested in elements of the story. I'm interested in elements of the world, but like I feel like there are these barriers to me really connecting with it that frustrate me, and I think I'm at a point where like I imagine I will continue to play it and try to see it through, but I also feel like if I just stopped playing it right now and was like, meh, I'm done, that would be okay. I also think that if I was like, I'm done, I'll wait for them to patch it and fix it, that would be okay. But like, I also have this weird, I guess it's like the journalist in me, where like I want to keep playing it in its current state so that we can continue to have conversations like this one, and that
I think that's a case of morbid curiosity to some extent. It's like, what glitches am I going to see today? But I will say, in terms of performance, they fixed a lot of stuff for me.
I haven't been having too many glitches anymore. Like there
me neither.
Are still glitches, but they're like more dumb glitches. Like it's the kind of stuff that you'd
like
expect.
Bethesda style glitches.
Yeah, which like that's fine. Like I don't mind if like an animation is weird or like someone clips through the ground or something once in a while. It's when like I lose progress or the game crashes that I get frustrated. But like
we should say that's on Xbox. Like PS5 owners seem to be having a very, very different experience with crashes constantly.
Yeah,
and that seems to be what drove Sony to do what they did this week.
Well, among other things, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, I guess like ultimately where I'm at with it is like there's a mix of morbid curiosity, but I also genuinely think that there's a good game in there. It's just there are so many bad choices, things that feel unfinished, things that feel rushed. Like I think overall, it's just clearly a game that's like half baked, and like. I think that between like the Venn diagram of morbid curiosity and wanting to see more, genuinely enjoying parts of it, and then also wanting to challenge myself to kind of push past this section I'm in right now, because so many people, even people who seem to agree with a lot of my critiques, have said that it gets a lot better at this certain point and it opens up and this, that, and the other thing. Like, I want to see if I have that opinion. I want to get to that point and be like, is the script actually better? Like, does the story coalesce into something that is interesting? Like, do these things come together in a way that feel more than where I'm at with it right now? Because the fact that, like, that seems to be a resounding opinion makes me think that if I continue to play, I'll probably get more out of it.
Where are you at the moment then in terms of main story? Have you made it to Arasaka?
So I think I actually just got, because that's the first mission you do with Johnny, right? Where like you have to go do the thing for him, or which part are you talking about?
No, this is one where I think it's Takanoko. Is that his name?
Oh, so the mission line for him. Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, and he takes, because this is like you're breaking into Arasaka to like find out. It's that story of you're trying to find out who killed this guy's dad or whatever, even though you already know, and you're trying to prove it essentially.
Right. I had the conversation with him to set up that storyline, but I haven't pulled on that again yet.
So you're just behind me on that story front. Yeah. No, I've done the one with Johnny. You're on about the one where you go get his records or something, the bootleg ones.
Yeah. That is another one where like I just started that and I was like, okay, let's go do this, and I haven't done it yet.
That's the one I spoke about last week where he was just being a dick for being a dick's sake. And you'll see it when he gets there, and it's just like, what's the point?
I mean, I've already encountered that with him. Like, I was doing this stuff with Judy and what's her name, the woman with like the short blue hair, who's the love doll or whatever that you get to know.
The joy toy.
Yeah, whatever the fuck they call them, all this weird misogynist shit. I guess they're men too, but whatever. I was pulling on that thread, and you go and meet like the weird, creepy Ripper Doc and all that stuff, and like
I've done that one.
Yeah. I was following that plot thread for a while, and then like I would like do one of those missions and then fuck off and go do some side stuff, and So I've been kind of like
the one where
oscillating.
You're trying to find Evelyn, who's gone missing.
Evelyn, that's her name. Yeah. So like I went through the process of finding her and like doing all that. So I think that thread is almost not necessarily like done, but like that part of that story is like she's back at Judy's place now or whatever, So like,
oh yeah.
I'm I came off of that mission and then went and did some more side stuff, which again has been like mixed bag. Like side quests that seem connected to characters that I know are genuinely pretty good or interesting. It's this random shit where I just do a thing and then it's like there's money in my account. I'm like, what the fuck? That's weird.
Yeah, like finding the car ones.
That was fun.
There's actually a couple of fun ones. But I had one which had a really cool reference to a game that everyone knows and loves that got completely ruined because the AI glitched out and broke, and all of the enemies that were meant to kill me just stood there, and I just walked up to them. You just shoot them in the face. They go, ugh, backwards, and then that's it. And you just keep shooting them. Then eventually they die. It's like, this is just ruined. ruined a really, really fun moment in the game. But I did appreciate that. I do quite like the car missions. I think they're fun. They're fun.
Yeah, the Delamain stuff is cool,
Yeah.
and like that is the stuff that has made me like disagree with your point about the open world thing, because like that was one of the most fun I had, was like just driving around the city and like seeing the different sections of it and everything. And
But
I'm like,
I'm not saying like I think they pitched it as this open world RPG, but that's not what it is to me.
no, I agree with you about that. Yeah. The thing is, I think my argument is I want it to be that, because I like the sandbox, and I like.
That's what I want. I love games like that. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing I love more than a Ubisoft style game where I go and I pick up these weird, quirky missions. Far Cry, they managed to make the same game over and over and over again so
it's fun every
consistently,
time.
and it is fun every single time because the story is so weird, it's so quirky, and I can't help but think if Ubisoft had got their hands on the Cyberpunk IP instead of CD Projekt Red, that this game could have been better. Like, give it to the Far Cry team. They do something so cool, so quirky. They could have taken it and maybe given it a little bit more care than the team that. Well, it's not the team, the management that.
Yeah, because it's definitely like, you know, I think it's so clear that this, like, there's thought and care put into things in this game, and it's just that there was not enough time. You know, it needed a lot more time in the oven, clearly. So I mean, let's talk about some of the news around it, I guess. Like, there's this whole insane narrative that's like developed now between. They released this official statement and apology, and, you know, essentially like take this position of, hey, we did this. We know that we fucked up and we misrepresented the situation and we lied and we did all these bad things, but we're going to fix it. We have these patches coming, and, you know, we hope that you'll stick with us. You know, like, we hope that you'll see it through or whatever, which a lot of people took issue with. Understandably so, you know, that, like, essentially, I think it was Nibble. It was somebody I follow on Twitter who's like, always got the hot takes, who was like, oh, like,
I like Daniel Ahmed's hot takes as well.
We're sorry we tricked you into buying our broken game. Like,
oh yeah, with the cutesy eyes, yeah.
yeah. Oh, we're sorry. It's like, fuck you, man. Like,
yeah, but some people were pissed at their statement. Like, so then it got worse, right? Sony all of a sudden came out of nowhere and pulled it down from the store and was just like, we're gonna.
Well, because that
refund absolutely everyone.
That was the thing before too, right? Was that like they directed you? They're like, we're gonna give refunds. You know, go to the retailer, go to Sony or Microsoft or whatever. And Sony doesn't have a returns policy that accommodates Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
and like
so the
CDPR had to have known that, right? Like,
100% they knew, because they said on the investor call that, oh yeah, we didn't have a conversation with them. It's just the existing refund policies they already had in place, but they knew they didn't have any. And then everyone on Twitter was getting like responses back from Sony saying, we don't have a refund policy. We can't refund you for this. But there are 2 patches coming in January or February. And I saw a bunch of people saying like, you may as well have just emailed fuck off back to me. Thanks, PlayStation, and like targeting PlayStation. So I can't imagine how annoyed they were about it.
Yeah.
And then my friend Oscar, who is the games editor at the official PlayStation magazine here, said had some clarification from Sony and said you'll still be able to play it and receive patches if you don't request a refund, but that their customer service was absolutely slammed after CD Projekt Red refund message, and it wasn't communicated at all to Sony that this was going to happen, and so they decided to pull the nuclear option, which was to remove it from the store. And I guess they maybe gave CD Projekt Red a little bit of notice. I don't really know how it happened.
I mean, it was funny because like it happened at like 2:30 in the morning in Warsaw, so like it definitely seemed like it kind of just happened. But you know, I'm sure there was a conversation there that went on. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that like I've seen a lot of people have ire towards Sony in this conversation, and like I think it's fair enough to critique Sony that they don't have a better returns policy. I think like that should be in place.
Well, I think something this experience highlighted for me is that if both of the sides are gonna sell a digital only console this generation, that refund policy needs to be in place and it needs to be sorted. Steam's had a refund policy for years. It's a simple, you play 2 hours of the game, you get a feel for if it runs on your system, if you like the gameplay, and you can get a refund, no questions asked. And that needs to be in place because it would have been painfully obvious if you bought this on PS4 as a digital version that this game does not run within the first 2 hours.
Yeah, you would have known day one.
And you could have got your refund there and then, no questions asked.
Right. And I know Microsoft has a system in place. I don't think it's quite as forgiving as Steam's, but Sony's kind of the odd man out in terms of platforms you can get Cyberpunk on anyway. So fair enough, right? Like, but to me, it's like a separate issue. Like, yes, Sony should have one in place, but like CDPR like knew that they didn't and threw them under the bus to be like, oh, go blow up Sony's support for a day or two while we cobble together another PR response. Like, that's how it feels to me. Is like, we're going to pass the buck. You can go ask Sony for a refund. It's like,
yeah,
why should Sony do the refund? You know, like, you're the one who fucking put out this shitty broken software and then knowingly directed people to a place where you knew that they weren't going to get a refund, where you knew that they were going to get told no. And that, like, you didn't have a conversation with Sony. Like, you didn't try to organize something that would be orderly or get your customers their refund quicker. Like, nothing. You know, you passed the buck and said, "Oh, let's let our partners figure it out." Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, I've never seen a studio with as much goodwill as CD Projekt Red coming off of The Witcher just shoot themselves, like, just fill their backyard full of rakes, shoot themselves in both feet, and then just, like, walk around and see how many they can step on. You know what I mean? Like,
it's horrendous. It really is. But I saw a bunch of people, including one of our listeners, Afi, one of our patrons, who sent me the response that CD Projekt Red had when they removed it from the PlayStation Store. So first off, it sounds like when you read it that they made the decision to remove it, that CD Projekt Red did. It's like, following our discussion with PlayStation, a decision was made to temporarily suspend digital distribution of Cyberpunk 2077.
A decision. Sony's decision, just to clarify.
Yeah. But then this statement gets so shitty and passive-aggressive. According to our knowledge, starting today, everyone who is not willing to wait for updates and wants to refund their digital copy of the game can do so by submitting a request. It's like, what the fuck?
We're not willing to wait
for updates?
Like, go fuck yourself. I waited 4 delays for this game and bought it. It should fucking run. Like, don't give me that passive-aggressive nonsense, dude. And that's what drives me nuts, dude, is like there are so many gamers and so many, especially PC players, like falling over themselves to defend CD Projekt Red. And like, I've said this in a lot of places in the last couple of weeks. If this was an EA game, we would be sharpening the fucking pitchforks. And everyone's like, EA does this all the time, and they get away with it. They don't fucking get away with it. They get voted worst company every year. We lambast every fucking game they put out. And, like, fair enough. Like, when they do shitty things, we should take them to task. Why is CD Projekt Red different? Because you like them?
They're not. Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, that's it. They're not. They shouldn't be held to a different standard. Like, what they did was shitty. And, like, that's it. They lied. They misrepresented their product. They overworked their employees. They lied to their customer base. They lied to Microsoft and PlayStation. Like, their management deserves all of the ire in the world. And again, their management, not their development team. I'm not blaming the people on the ground who've been they've been working extra hours for the last month, and now they're going to have to crunch for the next 3 months probably while they patch through January and February, and then they have to start working on the DLC. And there's a multiplayer mode that's supposed to come. How the fuck are they going to get all that done? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And like, I mean, the only just dessert is that the founders have had $1 billion of their stock wiped out because of this.
Yeah, their stock took a huge plummet, and like, I don't know, man. Like, they've got a real uphill battle to win back gamers' trust.
Well, I was thinking about how do you win it back, and I think the way you approach it is you say, look, we're really sorry. We know we fucked up. We're going to remove it from sale for the moment from all platforms, and we're going to work to fix it. After the Christmas period, we're going to give our employees a break for 2 weeks, and we're going to come back in January. We're going to get that patch out. we're going to put up a consistent, transparent timeline of what each patch is going to include and is going to fix. So like patch number 1 is going to fix this, patch number 2 is going to fix this. And you need to give people something. So you just give them like the whole Witcher collection or something as like a goodwill gesture. And you've got to do something to get them back on your side. Like, yeah, all the DLC from now on, if you keep the copy of the game, you're going to get
That's
for
what
free.
I would say, right? Like, give me the DLC for free because I'm not returning my copy.
Yeah, that's the same as me. I don't want to go through the effort of returning this copy to a retailer, potentially putting that retailer out of pocket because they're going to have to bear the brunt of the cost. I don't know what's going to happen there. And I know CD Projekt Red has said that if the retailer that you bought your physical copy from says they won't refund you, that they'll refund it directly to you, which is wild to me. But presumably you got to post it to them somehow.
Yeah, but I mean, it should come out of their pocket. They're the ones who fucked up. So then the last thing we said was, like, obviously PlayStation removed it from the store, and then that obviously put a ton of pressure on Microsoft to respond because Microsoft has, like, been a marketing partner for this game, like, all that stuff. They went and put a disclaimer on their store. They have not removed it, so you can still buy it, but you can also get a refund there.
But in fairness to Microsoft, this game runs fine on Xbox One X, Series S, and Series X. There's been no crashing reporting on the series versions or the One X. It's only really the One S that has problems, and so I think that disclaimer is pretty fair. Plus, they already had a refund policy in place. It's not like PlayStation where they had to make an exception for this.
Yes, I think it was more that all of a sudden they had to respond because everyone was like, "Well, I bought it on an Xbox. What does that mean?" You know? So, like, I feel like they got backed in a corner as well, whether or not it was as bad, you know, is like whatever, but obviously an unenviable position to be put in. And then we also saw, you know, a bunch of reaction from different retailers. Like, Best Buy has said that they would take back opened copies of the game. GameStop has said that they will not, and that, like, interior messages throughout the company have been basically telling them to redirect them to CD Projekt Red, and that GameStop will not be refunding copies. So, like, how you're going to get your refund if you want one is really going to depend quite a bit, it seems. So if you are looking for a refund, I hope you have a digital copy, and I hope it's easy for you. Personally, this is a question we actually got. I'm going to pull this out of the MailPot. This one comes from Affy, who's Steve said, one of our patron supporters. Are either of you refunding your copy of Cyberpunk? For me, no. I said earlier, like, I'm enjoying the game enough and am getting things out of my time with it, like, in terms of genuinely having fun when I play on some level, but also the fact that, like, I've gotten a lot of mileage out of it in terms of talking about it on podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So, like, I kind of feel like I have more time to spend with it, first of all, but also I don't feel like my experience has been bad enough to warrant me going through the trouble of a return, frankly.
Same here for me. I mean, if I had a digital version and it was a case of I fill in a form and I get my money back there and then,
and I could buy it again later,
I might have had a different response. Yeah, buy it again later, I'll probably get a huge discount on it because it's not exactly had the best reputation.
Yeah, like I'll tell you, I thought about it. I thought about returning it and getting my money back and just paying less for it to play a less broken version of it later. But I don't know. Then I wouldn't have anything to say right now, right? So it's a trade-off. I know that me buying it and telling people who listen to this show not to buy it has saved them money, so that's something, right? Like,
yeah, 100%.
So then, kind of like the last update on the story as it stands right now that I wanted to comment on was, like, I think the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people, where GOG, who is owned by CD Projekt, the parent company of CD Projekt Red, has told Cyberpunk players to not keep too many items in their inventory because the game has, and if you recall, this is actually a problem with Skyrim, like way back when it first launched. There's a cap on your save where if you get too much data, if you have too much in your inventory, if you do too many side quests, if you play the game the way that it's supposed to be played, your save data can balloon up to, a pretty large size. The cap is 8 megabytes on a game.
I know, I was going to say, it's crazy how small it is.
It's like a fucking floppy disk. God. So PSA, if you're playing the game and enjoying it, especially, be careful because you can easily brick your save and there's no way to recover it after that point. So, absolutely going to change the way that I play the game, which is yet another thing of just why, how.
I mean, I have that perk already, which breaks things down into breaks my junk items down into materials.
I don't like crafting, so I keep everything so I can sell it.
Oh, fair enough.
You know, but now I'm not going to do that. Stupid.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
I mean, that's not the only thing that GOG had a problem with this week, did they? They had that Devotion game, the Taiwanese game that was up for sale. They were like, oh yeah, we're going to sell this game.
We've heard from gamers that this game shouldn't be. It's like, oh yeah, you've heard from the Chinese government. Let's be fucking real. Okay. Thanks, CD Projekt Red.
And sorry, Daniel Ahmed made a very good point that they probably are trying to keep the Chinese government on side because Cyberpunk's doing very, very well in China. And they don't want it to get pulled there. And they could easily see that the Chinese government would retaliate and say, well, if you're going to sell this game that mocks the Chinese government, we're going to pull Cyberpunk, where you're actually making a decent amount of money in China because they're mainly PC players, from the store.
What you going to do? All right, last note on Cyberpunk. This is another question from another one of our Patreon supporters, Left Eye Lazy, who says, totally forgot to ask, but I was wondering if anyone thinks Cyberpunk landed as well as Death Stranding, an immensely hyped up game where players had absolutely no clue what to expect before playing. I don't. I think Death Stranding didn't connect with a lot of people, but the people who it did connect with really, really liked it. And the things that were wrong with it were not that it was like a broken piece of software. The things that were wrong with it were that some people just didn't jive with what it was and what it wanted to do and what it tried to do. And some people don't like the way that Kojima tells the story. Like, all of those are valid. But to me, the negativity around that game was more so about taste than it was about, inherent quality or like it just working as a piece of software.
No, I completely agree with you. To me, I don't remember this kind of discourse around Death Stranding. To me, this is the only game I can recall that's been removed from the PlayStation Store for quality issues, and not for like, oh, we've lost the music rights or we've lost the rights to this, that, and the other.
I mean, I think it's happened with like indie games, maybe, but not a
AAA game.
Yeah, with like this level of marketing behind it.
Yeah.
It's a very public fuck up, right? Like, I know I saw a lot of games journos like tweeting about how their parents were like texting them and being like, what's going on with the Cyberpunk thing? And it's like, whoa.
Oh yeah, my dad texted me and was just like, oh, it's just made the like BBC News. It's like on the
New York Times wrote about
news.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts. So yeah, I also think that we did have an idea of what to expect from Cyberpunk. They just lied about what we should expect. Which is another thing I've seen a lot of people say. A lot of those PC players who are having a good time, they're like, well, I didn't watch any of the marketing hype, so I didn't have any expectations, so it's fine.
Oh,
and it's
my
like,
God.
Okay, well, that's fine for you, but the company paid money and asked fans to show up and watch this shit to sell them a vision of a game that didn't exist. So please keep falling over yourself to make excuses for them. All right, so let's jump over to another topic this week, jumping into some of the actual fucking Nintendo news for a change. We got another Indie World presentation. First one in a couple months. It feels like a while since we've gotten one, but I feel like we had one in the fall, so it hasn't really been that long.
Yeah, I think it was September we had the last one.
Yeah. Time's fucking meaningless at this point, so it feels like a million years ago.
Very, very true.
So this one, I thought this was a pretty solid showcase. Like, I didn't necessarily have a ton of games that felt like bomb drops for me, but it felt like it had a good pace of announcements and it had stuff that was there for everybody,
Well, and I also think a lot of that came from many, many, many people were reporting that perhaps we were going to see the follow-up to Hollow Knight.
Sure. Silksong.
And that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's almost like gamers get themselves hyped up for things that there's no evidence to support of, and then when it doesn't happen, we get mad.
Yeah, all the time.
Like every time there's an event like this.
I mean, this one started off strong with Spelunky and Spelunky 2 coming to Switch. I have never played them.
Me neither. I kind of want to too.
Me too.
It's like one of those indie game gaps.
It is. It's like, well, this was like one of the kind of original indie darlings. Like,
yeah.
I feel like everyone raves about Spelunky, so I think I might pick this one up when it comes out next year.
I think of like this and like Rez and like Bastion, like those really early like, oh, this is really good for a downloadable game. Like, remember when we used to say shit like that?
Yeah. What, like WiiWare, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, that was the WiiWare stuff, and like the Xbox Live Arcade.
Xbox Arcade, yeah, that was the first one, the Live Arcade. I remember playing. Well, I mean, I still play Geometry Wars. There was this Hexen game. Do you remember that? And it was like loads of hexagons, and you would like move the hexagons. And it was like a puzzle game.
I remember I played a ton of Castle Crashers though. That was my jam. Loved me some Castle Crashers. That's a game we should stream. That would be fun. Love a good beat 'em up. So then we also got look at a bunch of other games. I don't know. Like, do you want to just go through the highlights for you? Like, what were the ones that really stuck out to you? Because for me, I think the biggest announcement that I'm personally interested in was that we got a release date for Cyber Shadow, which is that game being published by Yacht Club, the team behind.
Yeah, it is the one that looks like a spiritual successor to kind of Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, it's got like a Cyberpunk meets, not Cyberpunk the game, Cyberpunk the genre.
I really hope that is not just all we get in 2021. It's just, Cyberpunk was going to be a cool hype thing. Let's all jump on board.
This game's been in development for years, so like
I know it has, but it feels like I've seen so many Cyberpunk style things that just seems like where we're going.
I'm cool with that because I like that genre. I just want good games that are Cyberpunk style, you know?
That would be good.
Because, techie punk stuff, this is my wheelhouse. It's where I live, man. But yeah, so I've been looking forward to Cyber Shadow. I love Yacht Club. I think it's exciting to see them kind of branching out into publishing, more titles that are not from their internal team and, like, basically using their resources to, like, incubate new talent and, get other games off the ground. This is one that's been on my radar for a while, so the fact that it's like got a hard release date in January, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's not my style of game. I never played Shovel Knight, as you know, so that's one of my gaps. For me, like I really liked the look of Alba, which was
looked really good to me
from the team behind Monument Valley. And what was the other one? Grindstone, which is
just real quick for those who don't know, Alba was the one about the little girl and her friend and her family who like go around and help animals on the island, and like you have to like restore the balance of nature and everything and all this kind. Looked very cute.
So I really liked that, and then Grindstone, which was a shadow drop where I haven't picked it up yet.
That's Apple Arcade, right? Originally.
It was, yeah. It's an Apple Arcade exclusive on mobile.
That game looks
and now
fun.
It's on Switch, yeah. I think it was Imran Khan on Twitter. He said the Grindstone managed to get me hooked on Apple Arcade for 6 months. So the fact that it's on Switch and it's like only $15 is a steal.
I feel like Greg Miller from Kind of Funny said that it was like one of his favorite games last year. Even I remember he talked about it a lot. The art style like stood out to me when I first saw it, but like the actual like gameplay looks really fun. I love a good puzzle game. So not like puzzle like The Witness, like puzzle like, Tetris. Like
yeah, like Bejeweled.
Yeah, like arcade puzzle, right? Yeah, like it's a high score kind of game. We also got to look at Super Meat Boy Forever, which has a release date now.
I honestly couldn't care less. It just feels like that game's been coming out forever, and the more I see about it, the more I don't care.
I agree with that sentiment. I feel like we've seen too much of it for how long we've been shown it, but I loved the original Super Meat Boy. I got it on Vita, I think it's like a PS Plus game or something, and I played the shit out of it for a long time. It was like one of my most played games on Vita. So I'm into platformers. I love a 2D platformer. I love a tough as nails 2D platformer. So I'm Super Meat Boy Forever is a game I will probably chip away at for the next several years and never finish. Is going to be my experience with it, but I'm sure I'll have a really good time.
They said something like it's 600 levels or something in
the
trailer.
Like that. Yeah,
insane amount of things. It's So the forever tag definitely seems fitting.
I mean, I think that's also why it was in development for so long, is that, like, those games are packed with content. Like, the original Super Meat Boy has, like, hundreds of levels, too. So, yeah, I'm super stoked about that one. I don't know that I'll get it when it drops. It's out in, like, 3 days, I think. But we'll see. Because I think if I start buying more games right now, I'm just going to just stop playing Cyberpunk. And I don't know that I'm ready to do that yet.
Yeah, I mean, that works.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I don't think you will, though. Grindstone, for example, feels
that
like the
wouldn't
kind of
pull
game.
Me away.
Yeah, it's just going to be, oh, I'll play this when I'm in bed, or I'll play this when I'm watching, The Office for the 1,000th time. Or
sure. Ugh. Yeah, I need to start rewatching another show now. The other game that I wanted to touch on, we saw it here and also in the Wholesome presentation, which we decided against talking about just because there wasn't a ton of news that caught our attention, but was Calico. It looks pretty cute.
It was the second cat-themed game of the presentation.
That other one looked like garbage, though. I gotta say, not to be. I hate saying stuff like that. Like, I don't want to be that person, but like Fisty Fluffs, I was like, oh, this does not look fun at all. Like, it looks way too like floaty and like. I don't know. Like, it looks like it has the same kind of, like, controls as, like, something like Gang Beasts, where it's, like, super loose and, like, open.
Yeah.
But, like, the point of that game is that it controls bad, and, like, that's the fun of it. Whereas, like, I don't know, that just looked really stiff to me, and, like, I don't know. It just looks like one of those games that, like, the idea is cute, but it doesn't really seem to have much there. I don't know.
Fair enough. I mean, I thought the same about Calico. I hated the art style. Really, really.
Really? I don't know. I like the art style. I feel like it looks like very cozy.
I don't like it. I love the concept of the game. I miss going to a cat cafe. Absolutely love it. And the fact that you can kind of open one by the looks of it and make your own.
Yeah.
And fill it with cats. I love that idea. I just don't like the art style.
I don't know. Yeah, I like the art style. I'm interested in it. It's just one of those games that, like, I don't think I'm quite in the mood for it, And I think if I buy it now and try to get into it, it's just like not gonna like, I don't know, not gonna connect with me the way that I think it might be able to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I can see that. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I'm on the fence about it. I think it's a game that, like, if I catch it on sale, I might roll the dice on it, like, at a later date when I am eager for something. But I don't know. Like, the whole vibe of it kind of spoke to me a little bit. And I made a joke about this when I was talking to my friends about it. I think it's really funny how, like most of the characters seem to. It looks like you have a pretty good amount of control over, like, what your character looks like and, like, your body type and everything. But it looked like a lot of the characters are just, like, thick. Like, just have, like, a Pixar mom character level of, like, dump truck ass. Which I just thought was hilarious. I was like, damn, everybody on this island is super curvy. I'm here for it. I think that was everything that stood out to me, aside from, of course, Among Us, which, was kind of the big announcement of the night, right? Among Us, obviously one of the hottest games of the year. It's coming to Switch. That is the first time it'll be on consoles. I know it's coming to Xbox and PlayStation, I think, later in 2021.
It's been announced for Xbox.
Not
I
PlayStation?
think in March. I haven't seen an announcement for PlayStation, and it's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, I was going to say it's launching on Game Pass, which is really cool, for sure.
So I have a feeling it might be a exclusive thing.
Maybe a timed exclusive thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got to imagine they're going to bring it to PlayStation eventually, but...
Yeah, I would hope so. I've been playing this. I picked it up day one, and it's great. Runs fantastically. It got me to reactivate my Switch Online subscription, which I let lapse because I haven't really been playing it. So that was good. Played a couple of rounds with a few friends. I posted a code on Twitter, and a bunch of people joined, which was fun. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to doing a community stream on this.
Me too. The only we have to look into this. I did a community stream with the Comics Pals for it, like, recently, and that was, like, my first time playing. And I'm, like, broadcasting my screen so, like, anyone could see when I was the bad guy or not or whatever. So I'm like, how do people stream Among Us with like their viewers and not
just you stream the bad guy. You just have to trust that no one else is gonna look.
It's gonna screen snipe you, yeah. That's what I said. Like, people in the chat were like, "Oh, like everyone can see," and I was like, "Yeah, we're playing on the honor system today." You know, like I gotta just trust that people are not gonna screen camp me, and if they do, oh well. You know, like.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Nah, it's not a big deal. I don't really care about winning.
I mean, it's no different to how we were playing Halo, and if we were in multiplayer on different teams, someone could have seen where you were.
Yeah, that's a little harder though, because it's like in the past. You know, like it's like there's a delay, whereas like on Among Us, like you'll see on the screen, it's highlighted in red, like you're the fucking bad guy, go kill people, and it's like, oh, okay.
What did you think of it then? If that was the first time you played it, how did you like it?
I thought it was fun. Like I get it, I get the hype because the whole like social deduction thing. Those games are fun. Among Us is certainly not the first one. I think it's just the one that connected. You know, like
it is my favorite kind of board game as well. They're called bluffing games.
Yeah, like Secret Hitler,
Secret Hitler, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
From video games, like there's like Town of Salem.
Hidden Agenda
was always Hidden Agenda's fun. Town of Salem was always the one that I played. Me and my friends played that for like years. Had a good time with that.
That's a riff on Mafia, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
It's another one.
Which is another, or like Secret Werewolf. Like there's like all these different like versions of this.
Those are my favorite kind of games to play with a bunch of people. Like if you back in the day when you could have 10 people around and you could play a game.
Yeah,
they were really, really fun to do.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I played one of those, and so being able to play this with friends over the internet has been really, really nice.
Yeah, it's a good time. And I think it works well within that genre. Like as someone who's played a good number of those kinds of games, I like it because I think it's cool that when you die, you can still contribute. You don't have to just sit around and wait for the round to end, you know, which is always kind of boring. Because I find like that's usually the problem with social deduction games, like especially if you're playing with people you know. Like just like for example, using the Comics Pals as an example, like my buddy Marco, who's one of the co-hosts, like almost every time we play, we're like, "Oh, Marco's a bad guy! Like Marco's a bad guy! Kill him! Shoot him out the airlock!" You know, and like we're fucking with him. But, like, if that was happening every single time and then, like, you're out the first round and you can't do anything, like, that's boring. That's not fun, you know?
It is.
So, like, it makes it a little bit less, like, I don't know. Like, it feels like the stakes are less high when you die. It's like, I can still win. I can still contribute, you know? So I kind of like, that.
When you play with randos, it feels like nobody ever does their tasks, which is super, super annoying. Everyone's just running around looking for the imposter. It definitely works better with people you know.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really want my dad to join us on the stream. Like, really, really want my dad to join us.
Dude, that would be so... We played with the... when I played with the Comics Pals, Marco's dad came in at one point, and he voted against his own dad, and he didn't end up being the imposter. And I was like, you just killed your dad for no reason. That guy raised you.
Oh, that would be so fun.
So good. Oh, man. So yeah, I'm definitely down to do a community stream. Among Us is tight. It's fun. I get it. I get why it's the game of the moment. I think it's like it fits for this year. It's like a great excuse to get together and play a game with friends, and it's like easy, right? Like anyone can play it. It's on the phone. Like you don't need to like be like a quote unquote gamer to play it, right?
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
it's free. Like on mobile, it's completely free. You
Yeah.
just download it. There's an ad in between rounds, which isn't intrusive. You can buy additional outfits if you want to, which by the looks of it, you can't do on Switch, which is kind of disappointing because I had like his really cool outfit on mobile that I liked playing with. But I'm sure that'll come eventually.
I hope so. So yeah, all in all, pretty good showcase. Like there was definitely good announcements. I didn't think it was like anything to like blow your hair back, but
yeah,
good enough.
None of the ones that had been previously announced that I wanted to see, like Spellbound or Spellbrook or whatever it's called these days by Chucklefish Games. Really was hoping to see something about that.
Yeah,
you know, the Harry Potter meets Stardew Valley.
Agreed.
Maybe we'll see that in 2021.
Like Sports Story is a game I would love to see again. Like obviously people wanted to see Silk Song. Like I think the fact that we have a bunch of like indies that are games we're excited for, it's like I want to see more of them. Like come on.
Some of those though feel like they've escalated from an indie world highlight to main show Nintendo Direct. Like
Maybe.
Silk Song, I could see being announced in a mainline Nintendo Direct rather than, oh, here it is in the indie highlights. Here's
That's
this new cute
reasonable.
game.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right, so let's jump into some questions from the MailPot. This first one comes from Affy again, one of our Patreon supporters, and Affy says, "When are we having a stream for Among Us?"
This week, Affy, I'm hoping either today, Monday, when this show drops, Tuesday, or Wednesday. We shall see. I need to talk with Pete, and we need to rope in a bunch of the community. But make sure you're on Discord, because I don't think you're a member on our Discord.
Yeah, come join the Discord, Affy. If you're not, that's like when we always, that's where you'll know when we're planning stuff. But I know we had a couple of people from the community who said they wanted to. We had a couple of our content creator friends who said they'd come join us. So I was thinking maybe we try to rope in a few more people and like see if we can make a thing of it.
Yeah, 100%. We'll have to get the voice chat again on Discord so we can all play easily, because the typing on Among Us on Switch is horrendous. You like tap in the box, it brings up the default Nintendo Switch keyboard. You like tap it, you click done, and then you have to click send again.
You gotta plug.
So everyone's asking.
You gotta plug a keyboard into your Switch dock and play.
You're gonna have to. Yeah.
Play it that way. Okay, so then Affy also asked, do you think 2021 will see Nintendo Directs coming back, or do you think this year has finished them off?
I could see them coming back. I mean, I don't agree that they've been finished off. We've had the partner showcases, which were labeled Nintendo Directs, but I think they'll be back next year. I think they will probably see one around the summertime. I don't think we'll see. I mean, I think the first one we're going to see is either announcing the Switch Pro or announcing the Zelda special stuff.
Yeah, or Breath of the Wild 2, maybe.
Or Breath of the Wild 2, but I don't think it's still like summer.
I know. The closer we get to 2021, the less confident I feel about it coming out next year. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Nintendo Directs went anywhere. I think that people are just like weirdly like specific about what they consider a Nintendo Direct and what they don't. And like we've gotten, like for my money, we've gotten 5 Nintendo Directs this quarter. Like we've had 3 partner showcases, 2 indie directs. Like those are directs, whether you like them or not. It says Nintendo Direct on them. It's the same format. It's the same voiceover. Like it's a direct, you know? So yeah, I think we'll like the bigger proper directs.
And we just had the Super Nintendo World one, which we didn't talk about.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
and totally... I loved how Miyamoto did the hand thing. He did the like let's go thing. You know, like what I used to do.
And like that's 100% a direct, right?
Oh man, I need to book tickets for Japan. It looks so good.
Let's talk about. We can use this as an opportunity to talk about that a little bit. I have mixed opinions about it.
Why? It looks so good. Like Toad's Cafe, like you can see all the toads.
I like the Toad's Cafe. There are things about it that I think look really good. I think the thing that bums me out about it is, take this with a grain of salt, right? Because like I don't want Disney to get bigger. I don't want more media consolidation. But Disney is just better at making theme parks than Universal is. And like you look at this and I see things that feel like half measures, where it's like, this feels like I'm in a Mario-themed area at a theme park versus I feel like I'm in the Mushroom Kingdom. And like,
to some extent, I agree, but the way some of it was pulled off in X-Cube was so cool. Like when you went into that room and you were like, and it was like da 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 da, and then suddenly you're like Mini Mario and all the blocks are fucking massive. It was so cool.
That stuff is pretty cool. Yeah, I'll give you that. And like, but like, it bums me out that like Peach's Castle just seems like it's the intro to the area. Like you walk through the pipe, and it's like.
It seems like Bowser's Castle is more of a...
It's a ride, and that looks dope. That ride looks cool, you know? But, like, it's the stuff that's not the rides that I'm talking about. Because, like, you know, I think about, like I went to Disney World last year, right? And it's like, I like Disney movies fine. I'm not, like, a crazy Disney person, you know? But, like, Star Wars, I have that real emotional connection to. And, like, when I went to Galaxy's Edge... You know, I shared a video on social media, right, of, like, me seeing the Millennium Falcon for the first time. And, like, I got emotional, you know, and, like, walking through the shops and, like, feeling like I was on, you know, on a planet I've seen in a movie, you know, or like going into the workshop of the Millennium Falcon and like looking for things and finding them, you know, or like seeing like environmental storytelling that like they just don't do at Universal, you know, like, and that it feels like a step above like a Six Flags, you know, and I just, you know, like it would be so cool if you could go in Peach's castle and it was the entirety of the castle. Right? And that, like, you could go to the courtyard and there's, like, booze flying around, you know? And, like, maybe eat, like, lunch there.
There's, like, a Yoshi on the roof and stuff.
Yeah, like, I want that attention to detail more than just, like, look how much this looks like Bowser's Castle. Inside it's a go-kart ride, which is cool. I'm into that. But, like, I wish it was like that. I want to see that
go-kart ride in action, though. Like, you put the AR goggles on.
That sounds so cool.
I want to know how cool that is.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I don't know. I'm excited about it. Are you going to go when it comes to America? Because they've announced that it's coming to both the Universal parks in America.
Yeah, I'll 100% go.
Sucks that we haven't got any Universal parks in Europe. Like, come on, open one here.
Just come visit me in America. You have so many reasons to come to America. We'll get you this sweatshirt. Come for my wedding. We'll go to Florida. We'll go to the Nintendo world. To be fair, that would be a sweet series of videos if you and I went and we just did like a vlog series of us exploring the Nintendo world. People would love that.
Go ding with our like little bracelets.
Stupid little bracelets that also work as amiibo. Love that.
And then it's also like a mobile phone app that like shows me how many coins I've got. It's so bizarre.
What do I do with the coins? That's my question.
That's exactly what Macaulay said when we were watching. It's like, yeah, but what do I trade the coins in for? Is it like money in the park or something? Or
hopefully like swag.
Where does it go?
Like if I could get like, you get a cool T-shirt. I'd be like, okay, cool.
Oh, that little Mario character that like walked.
Loved that. I loved that. Yeah,
it was so cute.
I think I'm more excited for the merch than I am for the actual like attractions. Like just going and like getting like a cool Mario like toy is. Oh yeah, I'm into that.
I'm not sure I was there for the mushroom flavor popcorn though. Like I think I may have given that one a pass.
The food in general looked good though. Like the Mario like styled burger where it was like the bacon was the mustache and everything. I was like, that's pretty cool.
The question block dessert cube thing and had like stuff inside. It was made out of like little wafers with the question mark on the side. That was so cool.
Yeah, I dug that quite a bit. Okay, so then bonus question: can Pixel regenerate like a Time Lord? Maybe he isn't dead. Face screaming. No, he's dead. He's dead. He can't.
No. He's not. He's the next person who's asked a question. We already know that.
You're right. Trendy Brendy, Pixel Parts alter ego wrote in and said, "What's your favorite boss fight from a Nintendo game?" I've been grinding Hollow Knight's Hall of God, so I've been thinking about bosses more. I like Thunderbolt Ganon from Breath of the Wild because the lightning and magnesis thing is so satisfying. But Kirby's Marks is also really cool. Favorite
Honestly, that Thunderblight one was really good because it made me learn that I couldn't hit him with a metal sword, and it highlights such a cool attention to detail in Breath of the Wild.
I got mine. That is a cool one. I'll give you that. Mine is red in Pokemon Gold and Silver. So that I thought that was the most hype thing in a video game ever when I was a kid, right? Like you go through, you beat the game, you go to this like special final area in Mount Silver where there's all these insanely high level Pokemon, and then you get to fight the protagonist from the first game. That's you. Like that's awesome. I thought that was so fucking cool.
I can't really think of one, to be honest. I mean, there's some really cool ones in Luigi's Mansion 3 that I really wish you go back and play
one day.
Like the one where you go into the sand. It's like an Egyptian pyramid sand style room, and there's some really cool bosses in there. But I can't think of one off the top of my head. But Thunderblight's really cool, like I said, for that highlighting the mechanic in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that is good. Breath of the Wild has some good boss fights in general.
It does, yeah. I mean, that game's just fantastic.
Classic, absolute classic. I was talking to a buddy of mine last night at a virtual Christmas party, and he bought a Switch for the first time, like during like the last like 2 or 3 months, and we were just like in a room full of people chatting, and I just start hearing Breath of the Wild sound effects. I was like, "Who's playing Breath of the Wild?" And he's like, "Oh man, me for the first time." I was like, "What? That's amazing! Oh my god, you must be having such a good time." That's like such
Who was it on?
Go ahead.
I can't remember who it was on Discord that said. I think it was Left Eye Lazy. I think that
Never
said he
played
might
it?
refund. No, he was saying I think he might refund and refund Cyberpunk and actually finally play Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I know you're listening right now. Do that. Do that, Left Eye. Do that. 1,000,000 times do that. Are you kidding me? All right. This one comes from Wakahula, another one of our Patreon supporters. He wrote in and said, which Nintendo franchise do you think would work best as an episodic game like Tell Me Why or Life is Strange? I think this is such an interesting question, and it's hard because, like, Nintendo games don't really have story or characters that are, like, fleshed out usually.
See, I was thinking about, I really want to see more story in the Animal Crossing world, and I really want to know, like, behind the scenes of Nook Inc. and what Tom Nook did. Maybe, like, his past history of his life.
They did that in Wild World. The DS one has, like, these, like, deep character backstories for, like, all of the NPCs, and, like, I feel like that would work pretty well. As, like, a more accessible
you could either
way.
do, like, you could do it as like an anthology kind of thing where it's like a little snapshot into each person. You know how they do on Orange is the New Black, and they have like
flashback episodes,
specific character, and then you could do that, and you can have it like, oh yeah, you know, Tom Nook like remembers when he did something or whatever.
When he was
like,
poor, and you know,
today. Yeah, he remembers when he was poor, and some like weird raccoon also helped him to get him on his feet and gave him a no interest loan, so that's why he does it these days.
Yeah,
who knows? But I could see that. I could see that working.
That's a fun idea.
I would be interested in that.
I think when you ask me which do I think would work best, I think probably Fire Emblem. Like, I think you could easily.
Fire Emblem words, yeah.
You could transition.
The other one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean the other one I think that could is Xenoblade, because there is already that like stuff. And there's already one that basically is episodic, which is Pokemon. It's got an anime series, so that's kind of cheating. And that does work really well.
Yeah, you could have a story, like a more story-driven Pokemon story for sure. That like is less about battling or whatever, and is like more about, you know, because that would be another thing.
Like, Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu would work.
Like
yeah.
Detective Pikachu 2 was episodic, and each chapter was you're like focusing in on one part of the case and finding something,
and then like interrogating people like it's LA Noire.
Yeah. And it ends on a cliffhanger, so you're like, shit, what happened? Is he safe? Is something gonna happen? What's gonna, you know, you could see people going on Reddit and discussing it and like figuring out, piecing it together. Maybe there's like clues throughout each episode to go on to the next one. I think that could work well.
That could work well too. Yeah. I think there's other things too, like if you like a story about like a Pokemon breeder, or like, you know, I don't know, like a gym leader, like something that's not just, hey, you're a kid, go do badges or whatever. Like, have like a smaller, like more personal story that's not rooted in that part of the culture in the world.
Or as when all these questions come up, the other one is Metroid, because they haven't had a game for like 600 years at this point. So give them something.
I feel like that would not work though.
Game.
Because like,
I know, but it'd be funny though. You look to see like all the Metroid fans getting hyped that the Metroid logo comes up.
Don't do that to them.
Are going to get Metroid Prime 4, or is it going to be a new 2D Metroid? No, it's an episodic game that's very story focused.
They already suffered through Other M. They tried to give Samus a story and they made it terrible. So. All right, this last one was a comment over on the YouTube channel from a new listener, Will Goodwin. Shout out to Will. Thank you for joining us. And again, please, if you haven't headed over to the PotsCast YouTube channel, head over there and give us a subscribe. We are a young, fledgling channel over there. We're trying to get more attention, more eyes on the show on YouTube. So even if you're an audio listener, I'd really appreciate it if you get over there and give us a subscribe and a like on the most recent episode. That's always helpful. So Will wrote in and said, just listen to the pod on Spotify. Really good stuff. I listen to directly to you regularly and always like when Pete is on. So now I'm listening to this pod and really enjoying it. Keep it up, dudes. And then he wrote in with another comment and said, yo, I really like how progressive you guys are, and maybe this is showing some of my lack of media intake breadth, but I really like that you express pride in being a millennial. I don't really hear that anywhere else, but it's totally justified because our generation is making a lot of advancements in open-mindedness. I haven't played Cyberpunk since I don't have a next-gen console or gaming PC, and at this rate, I won't check it out anytime soon. What you were saying about the toxically masculine dialogue in this game really resonated with me. Over the last few years, I've started to take in significantly less content from sources that I can't see myself wanting to hang out with. For example, I used to watch a ton of ESPN. While their content generated a lot of good conversation fodder for random people I talk to in daily life or at work, not to say that the people I talk to are toxic, I just saw sports as a common ground for most people. I started to realize, especially when things in the shows I was watching were pointed out by my wife, that I didn't jive with a lot of the toxically masculine rhetoric expressed in most sports media. I've transitioned to filling my life with things that I actually enjoy taking a part in, i.e. video games and critical analysis of movies. I've also started to learn to make video games in Unity and Unreal. That's very long-winded, but it's all to say that I really appreciate the kind of content you are putting out. Not only is it great video game coverage, but it's also socially aware and appears to be genuine. I'll be digging through your backlog of podcasts now at work and as I do junk around the house. Well, thank you so much for writing in, Will. That was a really, really, really kind comment. I'm glad you're enjoying the show, and I'm glad that our particular brand of nonsense is doing it for you.
Yeah, and let us know how you liked the sweater talk at the beginning of this week's show.
Yeah, did that enhance your listening experience? Do you like the off-topic sweater talk? Oh man, but yeah, man, I will say, I am glad for you that you're kind of like taking the reins yourself there and like seeking out content that speaks to your values, and I'm glad that we could fill some of that void for you, but also that's just good for you. It's good for you to do yourself and be true to like how you feel about the media that you're intaking, and and being cognizant of that. So congratulations for you on that. That's a step for everybody, I think, as we grow. But also congrats on learning to make games in Unity and Unreal. That's really cool. I hope that one day we can test one of your games.
Yeah, I'd love that. I mean, if you ever get anything up, we'd love to give it a test, send it over, and we'll give it a try.
Absolutely. All right, so thanks to everybody who wrote in for this week's show in our PotsCast segment. Again, or the PotsCast segment, that's the whole show. For the MailPot segment, if you want to get your thoughts read on the air, just like all these fine folks did, you can, of course, comment on any episode. YouTube is probably the easiest place to comment on an actual episode. But you can hit us up on the Discord. You can get in our weekly Twitter thread, write an email to me at pete@lootpots.com. Any of those ways that you get in touch, we'll be sure to read it on the air and engage with your thoughts and have that dialogue with you, which we love to do. Again, if you want to get some more content from us, you know where to get us. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, wherever you get your video game content, we're there at some point in the week making some stuff for you. So I hope you'll go check it out. I hope you'll go support all of the different stuff that we're doing. And again, if you're an audio listener, please head over to the YouTube channel for the PotsCast. Give us one of those subscribes. I really want to see that number climb up. So I would really appreciate if you could do me that solid. Consider it my Christmas/birthday gift this year. It's for you to go give that channel a subscribe. You'll be doing me a real solid. And then, of course, last but not least, head over to patreon.com/LootPots, where for just $1 you can get this week's After Dark, where we talk about Christmas and my Christmas tree and a bunch of other stuff. So if you want some more content, you want a little bit more LootPots in your RSS every week, that's the best way to do it, and it's the best way to show your support. So I hope you'll head over there and do that. With that, we'll catch you next week for our Game of the Year discussion. It's going to be a meaty one. It's going to be a good one. And then on After Dark, after that, we're going to talk about our New Year's resolutions. So we've got a banging last week of the year for you guys. We're going to go out on top and hope for the best in 2021. So we'll catch you next week for another episode of the PotsCast. Stay safe, stay sane, and take care. We love you.